I started a TEDx event in 2015, so I was on the inside in terms of the speaker selection process. And since then, I've talked to hundreds and hundreds of people and seen their topics. In this video, I'm gonna go over the 9 biggest topic mistakes that people make that get them rejected from TEDx events. Before we get into it, let's talk about why these are so important. I mean, you can play the numbers game, you can apply for a bunch of events, but if you make these topic mistakes, you'll either have to apply for tons and tons of events, and it'll take you a long time, or when you apply for a bunch of events or you apply for a few, you won't be able to get booked at the best quality TEDx events. So you might end up getting booked at a TEDx event that is unfilmed or the stage looks really, really amateur. The other thing with having a great topic is that you'll feel more confident in your talk. It'll take you less time to write your talk. You'll feel more confident on stage. And then of course, the audience will respond better as well. So let's get into mistake number 1. Mistake number 1 is saying, oh, I wanna share my story and hope the audience will be inspired. Here's the thing. Story is only valuable in a few cases. For entertainment purposes, cool, watching a movie. For a support group, and TEDx is not your support group. In a support group, people will listen to you because they're waiting for their turn to talk about themselves, and it's therapeutic in a sense. You'll hear public speaking trainers say, just share your story, because they're not really focusing on the content. What they're trying to teach you to do is use body language and be comfortable on stage and things like that. And the last application, which is the one that actually matters and you've probably seen used for a TEDx talk, is as a delivery mechanism, as a pacing mechanism for a particular idea. So if you want to share a story and you want to talk about yourself, that's okay, but what you pitch is not your story because everybody in the world has one. Story is a bit like commodity. The story has to have a point and provide value to the audience, pitch the value you're gonna bring. So a story is like an airplane, right? Nobody wants to go and sit on an airplane that goes nowhere or goes to a destination they don't wanna go to. But a lot of people would take an economy class flight to Hawaii because Hawaii sounds amazing. What a TEDx wants is, this is the destination I'm gonna take your audience to. The story is just the way to get there. Story is not valuable in and of itself. It's only to help the audience get to the place of value. Mistake number 2 is relying on your credentials, saying, I'm this famous person, I talk about leadership, like please book me as a speaker. The thing is, what I've found is about 80% of whether or not you get booked comes down to your topic. I had a client one time who was a former Olympian, had a PhD from Yale, and she was working with another TEDx coach for 2 years and got denied for the entire time. The only thing we changed working with me was not her credentials, of course, they were already amazing. It was just how the topic was framed. So I wouldn't rely on the credentials. I would instead focus on the topic as a mechanism for getting booked. The best TEDx events in the world, they're not gonna go comb through your entire LinkedIn profile. They're not gonna read your book. They don't have time to do those things. They're not gonna go hunt through and look for things you could talk about and tell you, because they have a lot of applicants. They don't have time to do that. And they don't need to do that because they have other people pitching topics. So as a best practice, what I would recommend that you do is aim for about 100 words or so at least as a synopsis and pitch that as well as your credentials. Your credentials matter, and if you don't have any of them, you will get turned down, but focus on your topic. Don't assume your credentials will save you. Mistake number 3 is being mysterious about what you're gonna talk about. So sometimes people they're using the mystery as a way to seem different and new and cool or get attention, or they're worried that a TEDx event will steal their topic and give it to somebody else. That's not gonna happen. Some bad examples of topics are like the 3 C's technique for leadership, or like the apples and hats model for success, things like this. Make it seem weird and mysterious and tricky. What you want to do is remove the style elements and pitch the substance of what your topic will be. So if it's the 3 C's of leadership, tell us what the actual 3 C's are, right? Those 3 things better be really cool. I would focus on those things. You can use a clever title for YouTube, like that's a cool thing to do for after your talk is published. That's fine, but in your pitch itself, what I would do is remove the mystery, tell us in plain language. Don't worry about a TEDx event stealing your topic and giving it to somebody else. It's gotta be so good that only you could deliver it. So if you're worried about that, it probably is a sign that the substance of your topic itself needs to be improved. Mistake number 4 is having a message and trying to make the world a sort of better place. Sometimes what people do is they'll say, well, I have this important message about the environment and why treating the environment better is so important. And the idea with the value here, the audience, is what has to happen is enough people have to band together and join you, and only then does the world become a better place. But that value that we get is very conditional on other people joining, and it's very, very delayed. If you're a mental health advocate, you're an advocate for some kind of equality, the environment, something where it's a third party that you're advocating on behalf of, what you do instead is you reframe your idea to be immediately beneficial to the audience. So, as an example, I had a client who, she ran a nonprofit for women of color, especially in poor areas, and it was a health-related thing. She got amazing results for these women, and so her whole message for a while was, well, we need these community programs. These are needed. These are really important, right? Everybody wants to live in a society where the people are treated equally and people are treated well and people are healthy, but she was having a huge problem with being rejected. So all I did with her was reframe the message to share with people that, hey, if you can be a health influencer in your own community, right? So in doing so, people could say, oh, invite their neighbors over for a healthy dinner, go for a walk with their friends, these kind of things. What that did was reframe it for the audience to make them like an influencer, give them higher status. This also led towards more people supporting her program and her work. It created more of these things, but if you have a message and you're asking for something from the audience on behalf of somebody else, asking for something is not a great way to make a sale, to make an ask. What you want to do instead is reframe your message as, giving the audience something that is related to the objective that you have. I call this the God model because it's based on actually how Christianity was spread. I used to go to church when I was a kid, and we were taught this concept of the good news. And the good news in Christianity is not follow these rules and the world will be better. The good news is, hey, there's a God in heaven that loves you and is looking out for you. And if you love him and he'll have this amazing relationship with you, you get to go to heaven, which is really cool. And yeah, there's these rules here, but if you mess any of them up, just ask for forgiveness, and it's all going to be okay. So think of, if you're stuck on how to reframe your message, think of Christianity as an example and reframe it so it benefits the audience as quickly as possible and as unconditionally as possible as well. Mistake number 5 is trying to be different, or telling yourself, oh, my message is different, my perspective is different, therefore people will listen to me. That is just completely false. Things that are different are not better. Things that are different are often weird. Let's use an example. Imagine you're starting a coffee shop and you look at Starbucks and you say, well, I'm gonna make a coffee shop and mine will be different because I have a different perspective and I'm unique and blah, 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 blah. Imagine though, you said different, and this is how you could make a coffee shop different. You open your coffee shop from midnight only to 4 a.m. You only serve spaghetti and you play heavy metal music on the speaker. Like, that's different than every other coffee shop out there. But you're not going to make any money. No one's going to come. People might pay attention a little bit because it's weird and it's noteworthy, but it's a novelty. It's going to wear off very soon. It's going to be a fad, right? So different doesn't make it better. What you would do instead as a coffee shop example is say you wanted to start a coffee shop that highlights people that are really into chess, right? So you would have pictures of chess grandmasters on the wall. You have chess boards that people could rent out. Maybe you have like tournaments and stuff. You have chess themed drinks. Maybe the logo is like a chess piece. You can imagine how that would be a really amazing experience for somebody who is really into chess and like drinking coffee. For your message, if you're looking at everybody else out there, what you don't want to do is research the competition and try to be different from the competition. What you want to do is research your audience. Try to solve this problem better for your audience, shape an idea that's better for your audience, and that will be different as a result, not as a cause. Mistake number 6 is having an outcome-focused topic. So what do I mean by outcome? Outcome is, in our flying to Hawaii example, outcome is Hawaii, right? So having an outcome is a requirement. It is better than having no outcome of like, oh, I just want to share my story and hope it goes somewhere. But there's lots of people that have the topic of leadership or productivity or goal setting or relationships or what have you. So if your topic is something like how to be an amazing leader, the 3-step process to have amazing leadership, why leadership is important, like the focus is on the end state, you're making yourself sound like literally everybody else out there, and your competition is not just the other applicants for the event. The TEDx organizers are going to be looking at your topic and thinking, well, how likely is it that the audience has read a book at some point in their life that covers something similar? How likely is it that they can figure this out on their own? How likely is it that some podcast, some documentary, some coach that they've worked with in the past has taught them something similar? If your thing sounds like it's outcome focused, you're gonna sound very similar to everybody else in your field. What you do instead, and this is what I have my clients do, is rather than an outcome focused topic, choose a belief focused topic. So what do people do or believe that you disagree with? What does your competition do that you think is ineffective in some cases? And focus your topic on the belief that you have. Let's say it was leadership, for instance. Rather than how to be an amazing leader, it could be something like why I never run meetings ever. So that is a belief that you have that leads to potentially better leadership if that was something that you do, or sales or whatever. So focus your thing not on an outcome. It hides your unique approach. Focus instead on the belief that you have about how to get the outcome more effectively that other people don't already know. Mistake number 7 is assuming what the audience knows based on what they do. This is a bit of a complicated one. So imagine you're like a health and wellness person and you observe that people are not going to bed as soon as they should. They're not getting as much sleep. An assumption about their knowledge would be, well, they don't go to bed as early as they should, therefore they have never been told, they don't know that they should go to bed early. A TEDx event is not a great platform for reminding people what they already know, because if it seems like you're reminding them, right, it is helpful in the global sense, but you will get turned down. What you want to do instead, if you want to craft a really amazing TEDx talk idea that the organizers will love and say, oh, this is very clearly something different, is go and talk to your audience, figure out what they know already, figure out what they don't know already. And I do this with interviews, with debates. I would not try to judge the audience's knowledge based on behavior because they may know how to do it, they just tend not to, right? And instead, go talk to them, figure out what they don't already know, what they don't believe, what their barriers are, what they're struggling with, and address that in your topic instead. Mistake number 8 is researching your competition. So if you're a leadership coach and you say, okay, I'm gonna do a bunch of research for my talk, and you go and read other research or other leadership books, you listen to leadership podcasts, you study all this like leadership stuff. First off, it's like trying to avoid what you're looking at. Right? You're gonna spend a bunch of time looking at this. It's gonna seem to you like everything has been said because you're gonna get overwhelmed with other topics. It's very hard to craft a new topic if you're studying what's already out there in terms of your competition. What I would do instead is study your audience. So go talk to them, figure out what they know about leadership, what they are struggling with in terms of leadership, what mistakes they're making in leadership that you recognize because of your expertise, and shape the topic based on that. This has the added benefit of not covering things that your audience could have figured out on their own, right? There's like intuitive knowledge that they figured out, right? So I would do that instead. Don't research your competition. Think about researching your audience. And the last major mistake, mistake number 9, is following good feedback. So let's say you're an advocate for the vegan diet, so you share a bunch of stuff about the vegan diet and why it's amazing and the benefits of it and so on. Who do you think are gonna give the most positive feedback on your content about the vegan diet? It's gonna be other vegans, right? Oftentimes, if you get good feedback, you get a bunch of false positives. So you might get people that pity you. They go, oh, that was such an amazing story, you know? And they're say, having like a sympathy reaction. You may get people that are giving you positive feedback because they already agreed with what you're saying. So in the vegan example, that these people are not being changed. you're just repeating what they already know and they're sort of your competition in that sense. Or people just like your style. So you're sharing something that's very common knowledge, but you're doing it in a pizzazzy, cool way. Maybe they're your friends even. So you're gonna get a bunch of this positive feedback. If you follow this and follow ideas you're getting the most positive feedback on, chances are very high you're gonna end up with something that just everybody knows or is common knowledge. What I do instead, and what you can do as well, is do what I call reverse feedback. So express a belief. We talked about belief versus outcome-focused topics, and you want to actually have people say, whoa, no, not this is amazing, but you're wrong. I disagree. This doesn't make sense. This would never work for me for these reasons. And when you do that, it's a very valid test that somebody doesn't already agree with you because they're disagreeing, right? They've told you all their objections, and you can craft your message, right, to address these objections head on and know what they are. And the cool thing as well is, when you get reverse feedback, this thing is resonating with the audience and they understand it, because people are taking time out of their day to say, whoa, this is not for me. If they are indifferent, that's very bad, right? So if they say, this is amazing, they could be, they like your style, they already agreed. If they don't care at all, that's bad. But if they take the time to say, whoa, I disagree, this is wrong, this would never work, chances are that is the seed of a really amazing TEDx talk idea. So that's the last mistake. So I would love to hear from you. Do you have any TEDx talk ideas? Do you have a couple of them? Do you have questions on these biggest mistakes? Is there any that you found surprising or most interesting? Let me know in the comments. I would love to hear from you. I will respond to all of you in due time as much as I can. So that is all for today.